Okay, good evening. I would like to call the February 12th, 2026 Plan Commission meeting to order at 7 p.m. If you're able, please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Linda, can we have the roll call, please?
Bill Thomas.
Here.
Ken Carroll.
Here.
Cheryl Sublagazeski.
Here.
Gordon Butler.
Here.
Jeff Peterson.
Here.
Marty Flynn.
Here.
And John Stanton.
Okay, thank you. Let me introduce some other people sitting up here tonight. On the end is Atifa, our City of Crest Hill City Planner. Mike Stiff, our City of Crest Hill Attorney. Ron Mensker, our Executive, wait a minute here, let's get that right. Community and Economic Director, Development Consultant, Ron Mensker. Ron Wiederman, our City of Crest Hill Director of Engineering. And before I go further, I just want to publicly thank Samantha Tilley, who for 3 years was our faithful Executive Secretary of the Plan Commission. And we are very pleased tonight to introduce our new Executive Secretary of the Plan Commission, Linda Reha. And then sitting over there is Christine Verche Hall, our city clerk. Why so many people sitting up here tonight? Take that as an indication of how important these two cases are to the city of Crest Hill. So one procedural thing to get out of the way before we start. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Plan Commission meeting held on January 8th, 2026?
I'll make that motion.
A second.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson, second by Commissioner Slabozowski. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson.
Yes.
Cheryl Sublagazeski.
Yes.
Ken Carroll.
Abstain.
Gordon Butler.
Yes.
Marty Flynn.
Yes.
And John Stanton.
Yes.
Okay.
Bill Thomas.
Thank you, yes. Okay, so we have two cases on the agenda for tonight. The first case is a public hearing and consideration of case PUD-26-1-2-1, a request of Fiduciary Real Estate Development Incorporated to, 1, rezone the development site from a B3 Business Service District to an R3 Multiple Family Residence. 2, to approve the preliminary and final plat of subdivision. 3, to approve the preliminary and final planned unit development special use. And 4, to approve the planned unit development waivers from the Crest Hill zoning ordinance for a new 14-building, 260-unit luxury market rate multifamily apartment home community with a clubhouse, pool amenity, and garage parking on the approximately 16-acre B3 Service District zoned vacant development site located along the north side of Ryan Drive, approximately 280 feet east of Weber Road and 210 feet south of Renwick Road in the city of Crest Hill. Atifa, is the paperwork all in order?
Paperwork is in order.
Okay, then I would like to have a motion to open the public hearing for case PUD-26-1-2-1.
So moved.
Motion by Commissioner Carroll,
Second.
second by Commissioner Peterson. Roll call, please.
Ken Carroll.
Yes.
Jeff Peterson.
Yes.
Marty Flynn.
Yes.
Cheryl Slabozewski.
Yes.
John Stanton.
Yes.
Gordon Butler.
Yes.
And Bill Thomas.
Yes. Okay, again, the subject of this hearing is to discuss the request of Fiduciary Real Estate Development Incorporated, who is seeking approvals for the construction of a multifamily apartment home community near the southeast corner of Renwick and Weber Roads. I would like to ask our community development consultant, Ron Metzger, to present the specifics of this case.
Thank you. Thank you. This is- Thank you, Chairman. I guess I have to eat the mic. So what I really would like to do is just start out by providing a little context, the background of the property that's involved in this case, the work that has been performed by the developer and the staff to get to this point, and then I want to give an overview of the various special approvals.
Can we turn this volume up a little, please, Linda? Sorry, Ron.
Give an overview of the various special approvals that are being requested by the developer, and we're conducting the public hearing to consider, and the Plan Commission ultimately will need to make a recommendation to the City Council on. So we're talking about the 16 acres of vacant property that's located just southeast of the Weber Road, Renwick Road intersection. This property has been zoned B3, Business Service District zoning classification for the city for the better part of at least a couple decades. Originally, it was anticipated that the property would accommodate some type of big box retail commercial development with ancillary supporting commercial, satellite commercial businesses around that. The B3 service district is the city's most intense commercial zoning district, so it really can accommodate a lot of different types of uses. Some would be pretty intense and probably not very desirable at that location. But for the reality of the situation is the property has been marketed for that 20-year period, and there's been no significant project that's been able to find a path forward to the city to develop a commercial project on it for all kinds of reasons. But for the past couple years, the property has been marketed for things other than just commercial, even though the underlying zoning is commercial. Fred, or Fiduciary Real Estate Development Company, became aware of the property. They had developed the project that was the Seasons of Romeoville. I think it's the Bluffs now, up on just to the north on the east side of Weber Road, behind the new Mercedes dealership. So they're familiar with the area, and they've done a lot of work in the state of Illinois. They're actually from Wisconsin. So they actually contacted staff last summer, early summer, late spring, about the possibility of constructing some type of similar multifamily Class A development on the property to what they had developed in Romeoville. So we started the conversation then, and worked with them closely to come up with a site plan that seemed to make sense and fit on the property. They proceeded to present their conceptual plans for their project to the City Council in November of last year at a conceptual plan meeting. The City Council was favorable to the project. They gave positive feedback and encouraged the developer to keep moving through the city's process, which has led the developer to tonight's meeting. The developer's requesting approval of a preliminary and final plat of subdivision that would re-subdivide the property from the existing 8 lots, consolidate those into a single lot to accommodate their project. That subdivision plat would vacate existing utility easements that are not necessary for the proposed project and dedicate a slew of new utility easements that would be necessary for the infrastructure that would be constructed to support the proposed project. They're also requesting that the property be rezoned from the business zoning, B3 district, to the city's R3 multifamily zoning district. And then most importantly, they're requesting approval of a planned unit development special use. That's a discretionary approval by the city. And as part of that, they're allowed to request approval of waivers from some of the standard zoning and ordinance requirements that the city has. In this case, they're requesting waivers from the standard requirements to reduce the minimum required lot area per dwelling unit down to 2,650 square feet, to increase the overall allowed lot coverage to approximately 70%, reduce the typical 30-foot required front yard and 40-foot required rear yard setbacks in the R3 district to a variety of other setbacks that are reflected on their plans. It's not a consistent setback reduction. It varies throughout their project. They're also requesting that the minimum size for one-bedroom apartment units be reduced down to 700 square feet. They're also requesting that the parking requirements for apartment dwelling units be reduced to 2.12 spaces per dwelling unit. Reduce the minimum width of a parking lot access aisle down to 24 feet. Reduce the minimum width of walking paths in the project to 5 feet. And then they're requesting that the minimum amount of masonry required on at least one building facade be reduced down to 35%, and that they're allowed to have building facades that face a public street that would have 7.2% of the building facade in masonry. So that's the request. I did want to just touch briefly on the purpose of a PUD. A PUD is a discretionary approval that the city can approve, does not have to approve. It kind of lays on top of the standard zoning requirements. And the PUD regulations that the city has and most municipalities in suburban areas like Crest Hill have are extensive, and they involve a detailed application and thorough review process, much more detailed application and review than what would be normally required for a straight zone property. But in exchange for those detailed plans, the developer has the opportunity to ask for and receive approval of flexibility to the standard requirements. The intent is to allow the developer to tailor a project, design it specifically to fit a project and to fit the needs and demands of the market and the expectations of the community. So in exchange for that flexibility, the community generally gets a higher level, higher standard of development, something that is a higher quality and includes more amenities and upgrades than what would normally be required by the city's standard regulations. Based on the work I've done with the developer, city staff has done with the developer, and I think as reflected in the materials that are presented to you tonight, in both in paper form and will be presented by the developer, this project is a great example of what can be achieved by the intelligent application of the city's planned unit development provisions in its zoning ordinance. It's certainly a creative project, and it fits the property well, and it does exemplify a higher level of design than what would otherwise be achieved by the city's standard zoning ordinance requirements, and the developer will certainly highlight those upgrades.
Turn the volume up or get the mic closer to your mouth.
Okay. I don't really have control of the volume, but I'll make a more intentional effort to speak into the microphone rather than looking around. Sorry about that. Okay. So this works a lot better. Really at the end of my comments, and I'm going to turn it over to Tony DeRosa, the Vice President of Development for Fiduciary Real Estate Development, to give an overview of the details of the project, the benefits that the project has from a market perspective and to the community.
Okay, how many of you are going to be making comments? No, I'm sorry, talking to them. If you plan to say something, would you please stand and raise your right hand, and I'll swear you all in at once. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Okay, and then when you come up there, I think there's a spot to sign your name, and the floor is yours.
Good evening. Can you hear me okay? Is this on?
I did, I turned it on. Speak into it.
Is this better?
Yeah, that's better.
Hold it up closer.
Even better now? Okay, great. If you can't hear me anytime, please just let me know. Good evening. My name is Tony DeRosa with Fiduciary Real Estate Development, and thank you for the opportunity to be here tonight. We are pleased to share our design for the Seasons at Crest Hill, a new luxury multifamily residential community. We have successfully delivered similar communities in nearby suburbs, including Seasons at Romeoville, now known as The Bluffs, and Seasons at Plainfield, both of which have achieved strong occupancy, top of market rents, and have attracted high quality residents. The success of those projects highlights the strength of our development approach and demonstrates the pent-up demand for modern, amenity-rich rental housing in this part of Will County. Crest Hill has not seen new apartment development in decades, leaving residents with few options for high-quality luxury rental living options. This project will fill a critical gap in the market and ensure Crest Hill can compete with surrounding communities in attracting new residents and new investment. We have a first-class team behind me today. Myself as the Vice President and Chief Development Officer for Fiduciary Real Estate. I also have Dave Farrell and Ashley Hydorn from Fiduciary here this evening. Our design partner is AG Architecture. Our engineering partner is Manhard Consulting, who is here this evening to answer any questions that may come up. And our traffic consultant from KLOA is also here this evening. As a company, Fiduciary Real Estate Development, we're an experienced developer and investor in commercial real estate, focusing on multifamily luxury developments. We were founded back in 1985. Our proven track record of successful investment management has grown our business into one of Wisconsin's largest real estate companies. Today, we own and manage in excess of 9,000 apartment units, all market rate, with an owned portfolio in excess of $2 billion. Our team has been recognized as being the best in our business in a couple different ways. 20 times we've been recognized as the winner of Property of the Year for our developments. 8 times we've been recognized for New Construction Property of the Year. And 6 times our staff, our regional managers or property managers have been recognized as being the best at what they do in our industry. Over the past 7 years, we've been one of the most active multifamily developers in the Chicago suburbs, developing in communities such as West Dundee, Hoffman Estates, North Aurora, Plainfield, and Romeoville, just shy of developing 2,000 market rate units over that time period. While the Crest Hill Comprehensive Plan designates this site for future commercial and is zoned B3, the significant decline in commercial demand that's been accelerated by the rise of e-commerce and remote work has greatly diminished the viability of new commercial development at this location. Multifamily development aligns with the city goals to intensify key corridors and leverage existing infrastructure rather than promote sprawl. This project addresses housing gaps and provides modern rental options that are not currently available in Crest Hill, where no new apartments have been built in decades. This will support the local economy. It attracts and houses employees from Crest Hill's growing employment base, while also generating new tax revenue and consumer spending in the market. This will be a luxury multifamily housing with a Class A amenity package. These will be two-story buildings with 18 and
For a minute. Can you guys stop talking and let him talk? Because the interpreter is trying to listen, so please cooperate. Thank you.
Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
these will be two-story buildings with 18 and 20 apartments per building. They will include private entries with direct access garages for select apartment homes, as well as detached garages available. Our team is committed to delivering a community that aligns with the City of Crest Hill's long-term goals for sustainability, resilience, and responsible growth. The comp plan emphasizes efficient use of infrastructure, thoughtful land use, and the preservation of community character. Some of our high-efficiency building systems that will be included will be Energy Star rated appliances in every apartment home. We use low-flow plumbing fixtures throughout the complex, in addition to LED lighting for both interior and exterior lighting. We use durable cladding across the exterior of the building to ensure longevity and a maintenance-free exterior. In terms of some of our sustainable site design elements, we use native landscaping to minimize the demand for irrigation. We'll include EV charging stations to support the growing adoption of electric vehicles. In terms of resident health and well-being, there's a couple things that we do. We are a smoke-free community, 100%. We also use low VOC paints. These are all standards that we use in all of our developments that we build. When you look at Crest Hill as a market, it truly is an underserved market. There is a significant lack of direct entry townhome and stacked flat style rentals. The community has an aging rental stock. The majority of this city's apartments were built dating back to the 1970s and the 1980s, with no modern Class A properties in the market. There's strong market demand here, there's no question about it. Without new modern multi-family housing, prospective renters looking for this type of housing will likely seek options in surrounding suburbs where there has been newer projects fulfilling the demand that have been built. We look at a balanced multifamily market and often define it as having a 94% occupancy rate. That's kind of the standard. When you look at the broader surrounding markets around this community, average occupancy rates today range between 96 to 98%, reflecting tight conditions or relatively a supply-constrained submarket. This proposed development will help elevate Crest Hill's offerings with top-tier design, high level of finishes, amenities, and help retain some of that demand that exists in this city. New multifamily housing in Crest Hill is essential to sustaining commercial enterprise. Retailers are always looking for rooftop growth. This will help the adjacent retail to be more dynamic, as well as hopefully result in the development of some of the vacant retail parcels in the area. As you can see, it's kind of on the map on the top right-hand side. Over the past 10 to 20 years, those are all numbers that indicate new developments that have been built. And when you look at it, you can see that most of the new multifamily development has occurred everywhere but in the city of Crest Hill. We're looking to target a demographic that is looking for modern suburban community to call home. These are empty nesters, baby boomers, young professionals, many of those that are choosing to rent. Typical resident employment profile will include people working in the following industries. That would include healthcare, finance, retail, insurance, real estate, technology, police, fire, civic, education, service industries, to name a few. This will be a unique community This is not a development that will cater to those looking to live in a 3 or 4-story big building with common corridors. With the private and direct entrances, it creates more of a condo or a townhome type feel. And with the retail access and recreational amenities nearby, this location along Weber Road is a very attractive option for this type of development. This is just an aerial view from 30,000 feet showing an outline of the site in red. The site totals just shy of 16 acres in total. As we take a closer look at the site plan, this plan provides 260 multifamily apartment homes across a mix of 18-unit and 20-unit, 2-story walk-up buildings, providing a moderate density that aligns well with suburban character while still supporting the housing demand. The unit mix is balanced with 120 of the apartment homes being 1-bedrooms, 120 2-bedrooms, and a small percentage of 3-bedrooms at 20. This offers us a range of housing options for young professionals, families, and those looking to downsize. The central roundabout in the middle organizes our internal circulation. It improves traffic flow, navigation, and allows for great emergency access as needed. The buildings are laid out in walkable clusters, allowing us to maximize our pedestrian connectivity between homes, parking, and our amenities that are centrally located. The street network provides ample, multiple entry and exit points throughout. Our centrally located clubhouse and pool create a strong community focal point and are easily accessible from all points within the development. We have generous landscaping and internal green space areas to soften the site and create an attractive outdoor environment. The 2-story building scale supports a neighborhood feel and minimizes the visual massing next to the surrounding uses. Parking fields are broken up by landscaping, improving our aesthetics, and the plan transitions well with adjacent uses, with the retail to the north and the west, and housing to our south and to our east. Building orientation and setbacks buffer neighboring properties while maintaining strong street presence along both Ryan and Executive Drive. In terms of stormwater management, the subject property that we're talking about tonight was originally incorporated into a master regional stormwater management plan, which was developed several years ago to guide long-term infrastructure and drainage strategies across this entire area. The detention is provided in the Remington Lakes Development Stormwater Detention System, utilizing existing infrastructure pipes, stormwater pipes that are in the ground today. Our proposed development plan actually has less total impervious area than what was originally, the original plan was originally based off of. The depiction on the right shows the route that stormwater will flow upon collection from our on-site stormwater system, draining south into the existing Remington Lake Stormwater Management Pond system. In terms of road maintenance around the perimeter of our development, the property is governed by the Crest Hill Business Center Maintenance Agreement, as well as the Equimax plat of subdivision. Each lot owner in red, identified on this chart or on this map of the Crest Hill Business Center, is responsible for their pro rata share of the cost of maintaining the roads. Again, those are for the lots with the red icon on them. The yellow ones, the Equimax, those lot owners are responsible for their pro rata share of the cost of maintaining the road labeled in yellow. The roadway area shaded in blue at the bottom of the map is dedicated public right-of-way that is maintained by the city of Crest Hill. Now, as we get into design a little bit, this is a rendering of the front of our clubhouse. As we spin around to the back side of the clubhouse, you can see outdoor seating area, outdoor grills, pool, and amenity area. Our design utilizes high-quality fiber cement siding and panels, a James Hardy. It's a cementitious product. These are a significant upgrade over vinyl siding. Fiber cement is an industry standard, and it's recognized for its durability, fire resistance, low maintenance, and outperforms vinyl in terms of longevity. The brick is used strategically on most visible portions of the buildings, providing a premium look to reinforce a sense of permanence. We have standing seam metal roofs incorporated to add a strong visual interest. The buildings feature multiple gables and roof pitches, breaking up massing and creating a visual dynamic streetscape. We've included decorative brackets and details to enhance the richness of the elevations. We have vertical fiber cement panels with battens at 16 inches on center to provide texture and shadow lines. And we have a contrasting color palette with Arctic white and iron gray, along with white fiber cement trims to give it a more modern feel. These renderings demonstrate a cohesive, attractive community with strong curb appeal, landscaping, and pedestrian-friendly site planning. We have monument signage, clubhouse, and outdoor amenity designs to reinforce a sense of place and community. The zoning code does allow vinyl siding, which is, as I mentioned before, a lower tier material. We feel that by using fiber cement, the project exceeds the minimum standards for what the city requires. The overall design integrity, articulation, and materials selection fulfill the spirit of the design code, ensuring a lasting value for the community. Some of our in-demand single-family features that are part of this development include direct access garages. We have patios and balconies for all apartment homes. Private entrances and primary suites all have walk-in closets. Some of our other interior design features include designer cabinetry, large windows as standard, open concept floor plans, in-unit full-size washers and dryers, designer plank flooring in our kitchens, living rooms, and bathrooms, and quartz countertop throughout. Some of these items I've already touched on, so I'm just going to highlight a handful of these on this screen. First off, in terms of our expected school-age residents, we get asked a lot of time, what is the impact on school districts? So we've looked back at some of our portfolio and with comparable projects, and we are expecting to see a range between 10 to 14 school-age residents per 100 units within a development like this. So we would expect to see roughly 27 as our expected average. That's based upon 2,000 other apartments that we manage and we track that data on. Some of those expected school-age kids are typically, a small percentage of those are already within the school district. Typically, most school-age children reside within 3-bedroom units, which our plan incorporates only 20 of that type of unit, or only 7% of our total. So we're not expecting a big impact at all on the school district. In terms of parking, our parking is provided through a mix of building attached garages that contain 8 attached garages per building. We also have detached garages along with surface parking. The City of Crest Hill parking code is a fairly antiquated code when it comes to parking. It actually requires 3 parking spaces per apartment home, including 1 guest space for every 2 apartment homes. We're proposing a parking ratio of 2.12 parking spaces per apartment home. When we look at our portfolio of comparable type projects, this fits almost right in the middle between our typical parking ratio. Typically, our projects are designed and managed to have between 1.75 and 2.25. So at 2.12, we're just a little bit north of 50% of our projects. In terms of proposed market rents, they're going to range from $1,500 per month on the low end up to $2,700 per month for a 3-bedroom. We're expecting significant increment in property value and property taxes. The 2024 tax bill for this property was just shy of $36,000. Fully built out and stabilized, we're projecting a property tax increment of approximately $875,000 of new tax revenue. In terms of economic benefit from the project, it's almost an impossible thing to measure, but one of the guidelines we like to use is we like to look at what is the median household income in a community. In this community, in this area, it's approximately $94,000 per year. We assume that each apartment home, there's 260 of them, will spend approximately 10% of the area's median household income. You multiply that out, and that would be new dollars in the area when I say 10% of the median household income. Multiply that out over a 10-year period, and we think that impact is in excess of $24 million to the surrounding area. In terms of estimated impact fee revenue that we'll be paying impact fees based on this project, we're estimating to be approximately $2.1 million that we'll be paying to the city for both sewer and water connection fees. And that concludes my presentation. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any at this time or later on.
I think we're good for now. We'll let you get done, and then we'll come back with some questions.
Question.
Oh, okay. Commissioner Slabowski.
These are absolutely beautiful units.
Thank you.
Why rent? Why not make them owner occupied?
Sure, good question. So we get asked that question a lot. The market for a condo today is very different than it was 20 years ago. You don't see a lot of condo projects getting built. So when you look at the kind of the financial aspect of that question, banks aren't lending on condos based on what happened in the Great Recession of 2008, 2009. A lot of those projects failed. And the mindset of the demographic today is more after flexibility. A lot of people don't want to own anymore with property values that fluctuate. You see a lot of young people that are looking for flexibility. They may be in an area for 3 years for a job change or a life change decision, and they want that flexibility to be able to move to an area for a new job perhaps. And also, the for sale housing market has become so expensive. There's a lot of people that quite frankly don't have a 20% down payment to tie up with an investment. So that's why you're seeing over the last 7 to 10 years, a lot of the housing growth has been related to rentals and not for sale.
I'll have a question. How long is a lease for? How do you lease them, yearly?
Yeah, so it's a 12-month minimum. Many times we're leasing them between 15 to 24 months, actually.
Excuse me, will there be anything keeping the people there away from our homes? Because I live right off the right.
Ma'am, if you would hold off till we get to the audience comments, and then you're welcome to come up and ask.
We have one question here, relative to emergency vehicles, fire department, what have you. Any problems for them to get in there and to get out of there?
No, and that may be a better question for a city engineer, but from a design standpoint, we have to comply and satisfy all of the city's requirements that allow emergency vehicles to get in and out of the property. We have to do a fire truck turn radius that makes it, that we confirm that a fire truck can get into every location and make all the necessary turns. One of the benefits about this property is that there are several access points in and out of it that make that access actually ideal.
Okay, thank you.
Ron, you want to just follow up on that comment about from the
Yeah,
Black
thank
Board?
you. Part of the city's standard review process is to, number one, require that the developer prepare and provide a drawing that shows how the local fire district's most largest vehicle can circulate through the property based on the turning radiuses that vehicle has. The fire district provides that to us electronically. We provided the developer. They supplied that drawing. It was submitted to the fire district. The fire district did review it and concurred that their vehicle could move through the project easily and safely, and they had no issues with circulation concerns related to this project. Actually, they had no concerns about the project at all.
All right, is anybody else going to speak, or you did such a great job?
I'm sure they can speak later for any
Yeah,
technical
okay.
questions that you may be asked.
Any other questions from the commissioners or city staff? All right, now, is there anybody in the audience that would like to come to the podium and ask a question? If you plan to do that, why don't you all stand up that are going to do it? I will swear you all in at the same time. All right, please raise your right hand. You swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right, so you can come up one at a time. I believe there's a sheet for you to sign your name, and then you can ask whatever you'd like.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me? Okay. We live right across the street.
Did you sign? Sign your name there, please, if you can.
Oh, yes, okay.
And then state your name, and you're good to go.
My name is Sandra Nuccio,
Okay, thank you.
and we live in Remington Lakes, and we live just on the other side of Ryan Street, or Ryan Road, which means my house is backing up to that road. All I can think is 500 people being able to walk through our whole area unless there's some kind of fence or something to stop them, because we have a very strict HOA. We keep our homes nice. The HOA makes sure about with parking and people walking around. And now we have this influx of cars and people in that small area. And it's kind of scary. Why can't they be condos? Our condos sell within weeks. I don't think having condos, you had a great idea there. I don't think having condos there is a bad idea. And I think there's just way too many apartments for that small area. So that's my thought. All I know is now I'm backing up to the street and I've got all these people on the other side, and it's a little worrisome. That's all. Thank you.
Got a sign. My name's Linda. I'm against this totally. I live about 3 doors down from there. I'm familiar with the Bluffs. I'm a delivery driver in Romeoville. I deliver in and out of there all the time. There's a lot of problems in there. All right, in that I'm against in that we have a small community there. We do have a homeowners association. I may not agree with them all the time and that, but most of them do their job. And the houses are taken care of and they're well kept. I'm concerned about Section 8 in there, which is in Bluffs in Romeoville. And that is where a lot of the problems are coming from. You have a lot of people moving out here from the city. And that, I'm not saying people don't have, not to have a place to live or anything else like that. But what I'm maintaining in payments and everything else in that for our home that we own and everything else in that, and then to leave something like this possibly in over there, and that, I think we're asking for trouble. And I agree with you 1,000%, Cheryl, on what you said. God bless you.
Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kathy Abley. I currently am a resident of 16166 Huron. I'm on the corner of Huron and McGilvery. What I'm concerned about is traffic. The number of units, which are 260, and if everyone has a car, that's 260 more vehicles that will be in the area. Now, normally nowadays, you have 2 cars per family, a husband and wife, whatever. It's usually 2-car family. So we're talking approximately 530 potential cars. What's going to happen, in my opinion, and I really feel this is the truth, to avoid the light at Ryan, to turn into their subdivision, they're going to start using McGilvery to avoid the traffic, to avoid the light, which will mean then that we'll have semis coming through the neighborhood to avoid the light. There's going to be wear and tear on our streets. We are responsible for the paving of those streets. We pay for that, which will mean our assessment will go up. They're talking about opening up the barrier leading to Renwick, which, yes, that's fine. That will help traffic to go out onto Renwick. However, that's not going to change the traffic on Ryan, going into Ryan. Not only that, during rush hour, traffic going southbound on Weber Road is horrible. Now what's going to happen is the traffic going northbound. So southbound and northbound on Weber Road will be affected by this complex. What I don't understand too is there's another complex being built at approximately 135th and Weber Road. So why Crest Hill? I mean, I think that the complex on 135th and Weber is going to be greater than what this complex is. It's cramped. I also think the cost of the units, I just don't see that happening. So I'm just concerned about traffic. Oh, another thing too is the traffic on McGilvery right now is not being monitored properly. There's cars coming through there at approximately 55 miles an hour in the morning, and therefore the police have not been supporting it. So I can imagine what's going to happen with another subdivision. Thank you for your time.
No, thank you.
Good evening. I am a resident of this community as well, and I do want to make it clear that I'm not opposed to responsible development, but I do not feel that this proposal is responsible growth. I am also a mortgage lender, and I find it very disingenuous that this developer says that people don't want to be homeowners anymore and that they just want to be renters. We are being forced to be renters. Let's make that very clear. I lend on condos every single day. That is not an issue. We do not need 20% down to purchase a home anymore. That is also a lie. You could do that with 3%. Charging a minimum of 19% of people's income for that $1,500 unit, for that $1,500 on a 700 square foot unit is absolutely disgusting. This project is proposing 260 rental units. That's a minimum if we do the 2.1 cars of 560 cars in a very small area. We already have had issues in our small community with how much traffic and cars there are. We've been changing a lot of our own HOA rules for having parking on the street, which is a strain on us already. So if, you know, to make this development work, if we're asking for zoning changes and special easements just to make the buildings fit, I'm not sure how that really quite fits into the natural fit of this site. We also have water pressure issues and problems in our community already, so adding essentially what is a brand new neighborhood overnight with hundreds of new residents and vehicles is going to put a huge strain on our infrastructure. As my neighbors already pointed out, we are independently responsible for our roads, and I do believe that people will be taking side roads to avoid the traffic there. I have a special needs son. I specifically chose this community because of its quiet, peaceful area, and I do not feel that adding another potential 500 cars and people are going to make him any safer. If this development can't comply with the current zoning and the density standards without special exceptions, I'm just not sure it's the right fit for us as a community. Thank you.
Anybody else?
My name is Mr. Mann. I've been living at this community for a little bit over 8 years. I have 3 children, and there's probably not a lot of families that stay over there that have children. But it is a quiet community. To me, we already have problems with our little HOA community that we have over there already, and we need a meeting with them. To have this development happen right behind our homes, when again, it was already admitted that there's a community being built just like, well, it's already one already built just north from Weber. And then there's one on Lockport. People live over here because of the quietness. To have something like that established, I know I'm just reiterating what everybody said, but your estimation of children and who's gonna show up and do all this will put a strain on the little community that we have over there. Children, the school itself, Richland, already has, Homer Glen and Lockport and Romeoville and Joliet, children already attend there. So to add more children there, I don't see how that works out in our favor. And like I said, the community, small and quiet, that's why people live over there. The whole thing with people it sounded more like the plan to move the people that's already in the community, in their homes, to try to get them into these apartments at some point in time. And I'm here to just say that if you think that these people don't see that or acknowledge that, it's just ridiculous. You all are business people. We are people that go to work hard. It's not right, but that's what you all call development and growth and everything like that. Nobody works hard to get kicked out of their homes or be put out of their homes quietly to move into apartment buildings. That's all I have to say.
Good evening. My name is Norma. We moved to this community 2 years ago. Before that, we were in the same community for about 11 years. We raised 3 children in this community. We came back because it's nice, because it's quiet, because nobody bothers us there, okay? We would be right behind that huge community. I don't see, and nobody told me what benefit is gonna be for us, right? We have problems with traffic. The community is small. Crest Hill is very small. Are you telling me that you're gonna add over 200 more families to this already strained community? I don't understand how we're even contemplating this. And unless any of you come to this community and experience how tiny it is and the strain that you're gonna put on it, you cannot tell me that this is a good idea. Thank you.
Anybody else?
I don't know mother did this thing. Go ahead, go ahead.
name's Nadine. I reside at 16127 Ontario, which is not directly, or some of these residents are going to be directly affected with their backyards now facing this community. Between Ontario and Ryan, I get their public streets, but our residents own 2 private streets. The question we have as residents, I'm hoping, who is then going to help us repair those private streets from, I'm not saying you as a person, but the people who are going to be driving in and out of our community, garbage trucks, buses, police cars, fire trucks. The weight of these are not sustainable for what we have now. Just the corner of Ontario and Weber are 2 houses that have cars that now have to park on those side, on Ontario as a public street, because we have a parking ban from 1 to 6 on our private streets. I'm hoping that this community that's being built will put up some kind of fences so the people who have had 20 plus years of open fields in their backyard is not going to have God knows what coming through their sides to get to this new property. That's what I'm concerned about for our residents, walking the streets, taking care of them. We don't need another speed trap up and down Ontario Street for the safety of our children and families in our community.
Thank you.
One other thing, and then to say, in the community there where we're at, there is a lot of elderly people. Some of them up in their 90s and a lot of them are afraid. Talk going around and that these are going to be apartment buildings over there. And I think that needs to be taken into consideration too. And that, because there has been times in that, you know, just like anywhere else in it, you're gonna have trouble. But as I reiterate again, and that big units like these, unfortunately, and that don't always bring good people, and they do bring trouble. Let's go down into Romeoville. Like I said, I drive in and out of there all the time because I deliver. Look at High Point. Go downtown to Normantown Road. More problems at another community. Remington, I think it's called, in there. And then you have the Bluffs over here, and that, which is only a couple blocks technically in there from the house where I'm living, in Romeoville over there, and a lot of problems in there too. If anybody listens to scanners or anything else like that, you can hear all this stuff on there. And that I believe, you know, it's hard to be safe in this world that we live in today. Very hard. And I don't think you could say to people that are in their 90s, hey, go get your concealed carry, and that you'll be safe then. And that's not true. And that having an animal, a dog or something, yeah, they can alert you to something or whatever. And that, but if you read or in the papers and you're listening right to this right now, and that they're having mass car thefts in Romeoville. And all the people that are stealing these cars, the ones that they're catching, and that they are coming out of Chicago, unfortunately. And then there have been quite a few here in Crest Hill too. So I think all that needs to be taken into consideration about who you're renting to.
Okay, thank you. What do we do? Do we want to say anything back?
No, they have a chance to rebut.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Okay, Tony, if you've been taking notes, how about making some comments? I will just say one thing to the people in the audience. What you don't see is all the studies that were done by the city of Crest Hill before we even allowed them to consider coming in, all the impacts on the traffic. The schools got feedback that this is not going to affect the schools. That certainly was a question. They have room to expand to accept the numbers that they're quoting. So this is not just something that the city of Crest Hill says, well, just come on in and do. But let's let Tony respond to those are all really good questions. I appreciate everybody bringing those up. So,
Great.
Tony?
Thank you. First, let me talk about traffic, and I have our traffic consultant here tonight from KLOA. We did a full traffic study. It was done to the standards and the requirements of the city of Crest Hill. If the commission would like, I'd be happy to bring him up for he can talk about traffic and access and the stoplight, if that's of
Yeah,
interest to you, to
please-
get a little more
please do.
technical.
Mhm.
And so Louis Abuna, you can come on up. You know, and just one other thing before Louis talks is, you know, traffic, we come into communities all the time, and we have a very similar discussion. And the number one thing we always hear is traffic. It doesn't surprise me at all. And there's always this perception with a new multifamily development that there's gonna be hundreds of cars lined up, cutting through every side street and creating a total nuisance. And when you look at developments, once they're actually built, that actually isn't the case. There's not hundreds of cars lined up, parked all over the place. That's not a reality. And I would encourage you to go look at any other development in surrounding communities. At 8 a.m. in the morning, you don't see hundreds of cars. Yes, do people go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning? Absolutely. Do they come home at 5? Of course. There's not hundreds of cars. So
And
that,
there's speed
that,
bumps in their communities too.
Please,
Everybody
please.
tries to
What
avoid
about the holidays when the 4th of July weekend?
Yeah.
You're gonna have hundreds of people, well, you got our nice ponds
All right.
in the park, they're gonna be.
Please, audience members, you have had your opportunity. Please do not interrupt, or I'm going to have to ask you to leave. We have to be courteous. Go ahead, Tony, sorry.
Also, and Louis will talk about the traffic signal as well, because I know there had been talk at the city about relocating that to the, one road to the south, and actually keeping the traffic signal at its current location actually will provide our residents the reason to use the access point with the traffic signal. I'm not a traffic consultant, but Louis can talk about it. If this traffic signal moves south, then there is a reason, because you would want to go to the traffic signal in order to turn left onto Weber Road. So with that, I'm gonna turn it over to Louis to give a high level.
Did a great job, Tony. Good evening. My name is Louis Abuna, A-B-O-O-N-A. I'm a traffic engineer and principal with KLOA. Tony touched on some of the methodologies that we use in the traffic studies. We follow standards in conducting those traffic studies. In this case, we follow the city's requirements as well as the Will County Highway Department requirements. This traffic study was reviewed by the city staff and was also reviewed by Will County. And both staff and the county agreed with the methodology and the findings of the traffic study. Essentially what we did, which typically we would do, is we look at the intersections that surround the site, the key entry points and exit points to the site. We looked at the intersection of Weber and Renwick. Obviously, that's a key intersection that controls the traffic flow in and out of the area. Looked at the intersection of Weber and Ryan, that's being the signalized intersection, Renwick and Exchange. So we looked at these intersections and see how they operate during the morning rush hour, the evening rush hour, just to kind of understand what the capacity constraints are and what the expectations are in terms of how the residents would be utilizing those intersections. This development will obviously generate a fair amount of traffic. It's not going to be in the hundreds, as some of the residents have suggested. We look at peak hour in the morning and peak hour in the evening. It's going to be proportionate to the traffic in the area. It's going to be definitely less than if this parcel would have developed as a commercial retail. Residential tends to generate traffic in concentration in the morning and the evening and much less during the day. Commercial retail use would generate traffic throughout the day, so it has a bigger impact throughout the day. So when we looked in terms of the overall impact, I mean, this site is well located where there's multiple ways to get in and get out. Residents will use Ryan signal at Weber. That's going to be the key intersection to get in and out, to get to the Weber Road corridor. There's the Exchange intersection with Renwick, so that gives the residents another option to get in and out. And there's also right in, right out between Exchange and Weber Road. Again, another point of ingress and egress for the traffic to utilize. When we kind of looked at the incremental impact of this development on these intersections, we found that these intersections have adequate reserve capacity to absorb this traffic. That in essence, none of the movements, none of the overall operation will be severely impacted, that there is adequate impact, adequate capacity to absorb and allow these intersections to operate adequately. We do not anticipate significant addition of traffic through the existing residential to the south. Again, the site has good direct access to Weber and to Renwick, so there's really no reason for anyone to travel south through the existing residential areas south of the site. Finally, we took a close look at the Ryan signal at Weber. As Tony said, one of the things that we wanted to make sure that the signal will continue to be warranted in the future, and we did show that would be the case, and we had Will County review that. Will County controls Weber Road, therefore they controls the signal, and they agreed that given that the warrants will continue to be warranted in the future, that this location of the signal can be maintained and would be appropriate to keep it here in order to serve the traffic that's currently using it and also the future traffic from this proposed development and any other future outlet parcels that may be developed along Weber Road in that area. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Hang on a minute.
If I could address some of the other questions.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Let her ask her question. She's dying to ask another one.
Okay, we're still talking about the traffic, and I understand what you're saying. Believe me, I do 100%. However, I am trying to turn either east or west from Borio to Renwick. 10 minutes I sit there and I wait so I can make a turn. Now, with additional traffic coming out of this subdivision, that's going to increase my time to turn. This is going to make it extremely difficult for everybody who is currently living there with all these additional cars. And I realize they're not all going to be there at the same identical time. However, I'd like to know approximately what time your studies were done, okay? Because that determines a lot of things too. Because if the studies were done anywhere between 3 and 5, traffic on Weber is terrible. So that's not even taking into consideration going northbound. I've seen it going, I can't even make it to Walmart from my subdivision. I can't even turn from McGilvery, okay, to go north. I can't do it south. I have to sit there and wait and wait and wait. So even putting a light there is not going to really do any well because you've got a light a block away. Excuse me. They were supposed to change the light, from what I understand, from Ryan to McGilvery, but that now, because of the subdivision coming in, that possibility has changed. But what I would like to know really right now is, has this been in stone? Is this subdivision coming in for sure?
We are here to help decide that tonight. That's why we're having a public hearing.
But I mean, it's not in stone at this moment.
The decision has not been made. The city council will make that decision eventually.
And another thing is the wear and tear on our streets, because I know darn well that they're going to go down McGilvery to avoid that light in Ryan if traffic is backed up really bad. They'll come down McGilvery, which is gonna trash our streets. And now, right now, our assessment just went up, and it'll go up again, and it'll go up again, because we have to maintain our streets. This subdivision will not help us maintain our streets. And once again, thank you for your time.
Ron, didn't we do a water and sewer study to know that this is not going to affect the water pressure or sewer or anything like that?
Yes, the consultant provided information on the proposed demands. Those demands were put into our water modeling system, and this small increment that is being added will have no effect on the water or the sewer system as it currently is today. To kind of address, too, to take a step back, I did review that traffic study. That traffic study is adequate. It does show a lot of reserve capacity. The concern that people are going to go to Ryan to McGilvery, I think, is something that's just not going to happen. That's just not what people do. Let me finish. With that being said, there's going to be improvements to McGilvery that's going to restrict some turns probably in the future out of McGilvery to make lefts. So it's not going to be people are not going to want to go to a location where they can't make lefts out of there anyways. So, you know, that's still being designed here with the city and will be presented to the city later this year. But there will also be improvements to McGilvery that will also include adding another lane there so people can make rights to go north, and also some time restrictions for traffic not to be able to make lefts out of there during these peak times that everyone's talking about, that is very difficult to get out. And I agree that in the evenings is a bad time to get out of there. That's a bad one, and I've seen it on the weekends too.
What about when the factories are leaving out on Renwick Road there, and 9th Street is backed up all the way in that to, almost in that Ryan Drive?
Again, these are all public streets. I mean, we do not control the traffic on the public streets. So, you know,
You're stating that you don't control it, and that, but what you're imposing isn't helping it.
it's a very small blip into the whole thing.
No, it's
It
not.
really is.
No, it's not. Maybe
Okay.
you don't live there. We
No,
do.
been doing this for a long time, so.
Definitely not in agreement. You probably live in a subdivision somewhere where it's nice and quiet or whatever, and expect everybody else to take this.
We have the same issues.
I doubt it.
Will there be management people there at the apartment complex? Someone we can talk to when the people are creating problems, making noise, like this gentleman said for holidays? We have an HOA. They don't have anything to stop them from doing whatever they want unless they have a strong management team. Can you promise?
Not likely to happen.
Right. Can you promise that you'll have a management team there to keep people in line?
Yeah, they're gonna promise you anything, because they're making money on this.
All right.
Tony, do you want to comment about
But
property
we need a
manager?
fence. We need a
I have
fence.
to ask people to speak one at a time. I can't keep up. I'm one person. Thank you. And I'm talking directly to you, ma'am. I cannot keep up. Thank you.
Couple things. We're not bad people. Like, I know there's a perception, we're the developers, we're bad people. We're not gonna manage this in a professional approach. Our company, as I mentioned, we've been around for 40 years. Everything that we own or have developed, we manage ourselves. So we don't hire a third-party property management company that's not related to us.
Quiet, please.
I'm going to stand next to you, Tony.
All right.
Ma'am, quiet, please. It's very disrespectful. Sorry, Tony, go ahead.
Please go ahead. Thank you.
We manage our 100% of our portfolio. We're not hiring a third-party management company. We don't build this and we disappear the next day. We will staff the property. In our clubhouse, we have a full dedicated on-site property management office. We'll have people there 6 or 7 days a week, depending on the time of year. We have maintenance people that are our employees that respond to things that come up in off hours. We have emergency phone numbers that our residents can call if something were to happen after hours. We're professionals at what we do, and we take it very seriously. There was a comment earlier about this being Section 8 housing. Section 8 housing, I think, is being referred to as low-income, affordable housing. That's not true. This is market rate. We're not a affordable housing or a Section 8.
You can't deny
How-
Section 8. It's federal.
Ma'am, one more time, and I'm going to ask you to leave.
Okay, that's fine.
All right, why don't you and your friend get up and leave, please? You're being very disrespectful.
And you know what? And I'm tired of hearing the lies. I'll gladly go outside. I don't care.
Okay.
And that, because what he just said is an out-and-out lie. I'm a retired loan officer, and that is untrue.
Bye.
Sorry, Tony.
We're a market rate developer. That's what we do. That's what we've done for 40 years. Our portfolio of 9,000 apartments, that's what it is. We, as part of our screening process, we don't just let anybody live in our communities. I think there was a comment about standards, about us forcing people out of homes in Crest Hill to live here. Like, that's not how this goes. We actually have fairly stringent requirements for people that want to live in our community. So you have to apply. We do a financial review. You have to prove that you have income and or assets of 3 times what your monthly rent is to prove that you can in fact afford to live here. With this being new, the rents are higher than properties that were built in Crest Hill 20 and 30 years ago. There's no doubt about it. We're raising the bar for new housing in this community. We also do criminal background checks on anybody that wants to apply. You have to pass that. And we also take it a step further and we do housing references, landlord references. So we don't just let anybody move in here. These are actually good people. These are people that work in the community. Now, as I shared earlier in my presentation, we've built about just shy of 1,800 apartments in the Chicago suburbs over the past 7 years. And we look at the data of where are people moving from. And we've been in Plainfield, Romeoville, so we know this part of the area very well. What we're actually seeing is about 40% of the people that move into our properties in this region are actually coming from more than 30 minutes away. So we may not appeal to a huge percentage of people maybe within the city of Crest Hill. I think we will have a percentage of it. But there's a lot of people moving to these western and southwestern suburbs because of their desirability, because there's a fair amount of job growth in the corridor. Weber Road, 55, you go west of Plainfield, you go east, you go south. There's good job growth, and people are looking for this type of housing. So when we first came down to Crest Hill, we said, you know what, there's nothing like this in your community. We looked around, that one map I shared on the screen with all the different numbers of where other projects have been built over the past 10 years, it's happened everywhere but right here in Crest Hill. And we thought, you know what, we understand the demographic, we understand what people are looking for because we are one of the most active developers. We think our approach to development, how we manage it, how we deal with it, would fit great into your community. And then when people talk about, well, what are my benefits? Well, I think there's some community benefits to this property being developed. This property is zoned for commercial, it's the B3 zoning. Permitted uses likely include, bigger box retail, commercial uses, probably things that many neighbors here tonight probably would not like either if they were to come forward. That's the reality. So when you go from a commercial zoning of a B3 to multifamily, it's actually technically considered a down zoning in use. So when you look at economic benefit, you look at what is around this parcel. The existing retail buildings around the perimeter, they're not great today. I don't think that's a secret. There's retail vacancies there. There's vacant land. There's a closed down bank. Things that we're not real excited about, but what we're excited about is our project can be catalytic. We've seen that happen in other communities where we've been able to see adjacent sites get developed and filled with retail, because retailers today are a lot more selective than they were 10, 15, 20 years ago. They want to see where is the rooftop growth occurring, where are people moving. They don't want to go where people are not moving to. So bringing in people to live on this property and frequent the retail, I think there will be some economic benefit, not just to the community, but to the retail buildings to our north. And does that help get that bank back online? Does that help develop some of this vacant land? And start providing maybe some additional retail, restaurants, commercial uses that people in the neighborhood, people in the community, people in Romeoville are actually going to benefit from. Without that type of growth and rooftop, it's hard to see. Retail's a dying breed right now. And bringing in bodies that can spend money is part of the benefit that this community will realize with a development like this.
Okay, thank you, Tony. All right, we'll do a couple more questions. I want to make sure everybody had a chance to get heard, but we're going to have to stop pretty soon, so go ahead, ma'am.
The
Another question I have with the development people, would you guys be willing to work with a handful of our homeowners to kind of bridge the gap of some of the angrier and unhappier members of our community to see what we can do to, obviously this is gonna go in, it's probably good for Crest Hill, that's right, wonderful, but for our residents that are literally right there in the backyard to put a fence up, to put lighting in, to come some of agreement of cohesiveness, considering that we're all gonna have to be there together. Have it be someone from the council, have it be people who live in Remington Lakes Villas, who are gonna have to deal with this community being built, and the construction, and the traffic, and the people, and the extra amount of people, just so we can have a cohesive Crest Hill development for our area, for all. Just a thought.
Thank you. Well, anybody else have any questions or comments?
I have a comment. I walked through the bluffs, very nice, very quiet. It was about 10 o'clock in the morning. I was like, where the hell's everybody at? What's going on here? So it was very quiet, very nice place. Saw the pool, saw the dog park, saw where they worked out, saw the maintenance people running around doing things. I was very impressed.
Any other? I will say, I went through the bluffs about 6:30 at night, and I was very impressed about how nice it was, and I had the same feeling. I think I saw 3 people out, and but I was really impressed. It's not that old, but it's very well kept up. I honestly think that what we're talking about here is going to be an asset to the city of Crest Hill. We need more apartments. We need more residents in the city of Crest Hill to help us all spread the tax rates around. And I want to thank you for the nice presentation. So with that, I would like to have a motion to close the public hearing.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson.
I second.
Second by Commissioner Slabazeski. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabazeski,
Yes.
John Stanton,
Yes.
Marty Flynn,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes, public hearing closed at 8:23. Okay. Commissioners or city staff, any more comments you want to make before we consider a motion?
I could maybe just provide a little professional perspective on it, and then just one bit of personal perspective on this type of project. I've been doing this for this type of work for municipalities for like almost 40 years now, and I have been to a lot of public hearings about a lot of development, including substantial multifamily development similar to this. And the concerns that I hear are very similar to the concerns that I've heard tonight. Legitimate concerns that people have. I think embedded in those concerns is a fear of the unknown. But being able to see these projects develop, and then after the fact evaluating those projects and how they actually turned out in comparison to what was projected in terms of traffic or the type of people or the type of crime or the amount of student population, all of those projects consistently, and I've dealt with probably close to 1,500 units of multifamily projects of this nature anyway, have turned out as good or better than what they were originally anticipated or represented to be. There are positive impacts to the community. They diversified the housing in the community. They did not create criminal problems. They did not attract bad people. The people that live in those developments became part of the community, valued residents and contributors in the community who spent money to support the businesses in the community, both existing businesses in the community and made the community more attractive to the type of businesses, restaurants, and retail uses that we all want from a convenience standpoint in our communities. In particular, I had a project similar to this happen in the community I live in, and it was interesting. One day I was talking to one of my son, who's a college-educated person, mid-20s, one of his girlfriends, and she talked about she was so happy when a multifamily project like this happened in our community finally, that she was able to move back and occupy one of those units. Before that, she would have had to go to a different type of another community to live in the quality of project that they're trying to get developed here in Crest Hill. So that's a real life example. I mean, these are people that are family members, neighbors, their children, that will be occupying these types of units. These are high quality units. And I can tell you, I've dealt with a lot of this type of development, and this developer, the city is actually fortunate that they're interested in doing this project in the community. These people, this is the top of the development class for this type of product. You're not gonna find a different developer that's gonna develop something better than this project in Crest Hill. And they proved that. We've worked with them for the last 9 months, and they proved that over and over, addressing every single request that the city's put forth to them for information, modifying the design, addressing the concerns that we would have from a technical perspective to bring this project to something that would clearly be an asset to the community. And I think that the impacts that it would have on the adjacent residential neighborhood aren't going to be anywhere near what's being represented. It makes really no sense for traffic from this project to intentionally cut through on Ontario to through the adjacent neighborhood. That just makes no legitimate sense. Cars coming northbound on Weber Road are going to make a right at the most direct access, which is Ryan Drive. And if Weber Road is, I travel it every day, and it's got a lot of traffic on it. You're not going to you don't want to make a left turn out on Ryan Drive or at McGilvery unsignalized if you have the ability to access a signal. So I don't see that there's going to be any traffic impacts to any degree on Ontario and through the neighborhood, Remington Lakes to the south. And last thing I would say is that the developer has committed to installing a high-quality screening fence on its property, where its property abuts up to the adjacent Remington Lakes neighborhood. That was something that the homeowners association requested. The developer talked with the representative of the homeowners association, and have agreed to do that. I think the other fencing that people are talking about is fencing that, if they really wanted, it's on the association's property across Ryan's Drive. It's not on property that this developer owns or controls. So with that, I think from a staff perspective, I would summarize that the city's zoning ordinance has a lot of detailed standards that the city is obligated by its own codes to use and evaluate requests like this, and justify and base its decision on whether to approve it or to deny it based on those standards. Those standards are outlined in the exhibits attached to the staff report for this case, along with the staff responses to those standards, so our professional opinion of how those standards support or don't support the requests that this developer is making. And overwhelmingly, if you look at the standards that the city has set forth to use to make decisions about this, objectively, it's clear that from a professional standpoint that they support the approval of the project.
Thank you very much for those comments. Okay, before I ask for a motion, Tony, I'm going to direct this comment to you. I want to get it in the record that the city staff has talked to you about 7 conditions that were required to be met as a condition of approval for this project. And I believe they've talked to you, and I just want to confirm that you're you're in agreement with those 7 conditions that were discussed?
Yes, I'm in agreement with it. There was one modification to.
Right, that
condition
includes the
seven-
revision
included
that we
revision
got
to number
today,
7.
dealing with the walkways
Yes.
and the contingency for that, so that's
Yes.
all included?
That-
And you're okay with
We're
that?
okay with all 7 of those.
All right, thank you very much. So, Commissioners, can I have a motion to approve the request of Fiduciary Real Estate Development Incorporated seeking approvals for the construction of a multifamily apartment home community near the southeast corner of Renwick and Weber Roads, as stated in the February 12th, 2026 City of Crest Hill Staff Report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson. Second by Commissioner Flynn. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Marty Flynn,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Cheryl Slebzeski,
Yes.
John Stanton,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes. Motion passed. As a result, the Plan Commission will unanimously recommend that the City Council approve the rezoning, preliminary, and final PUD special use, the PUD waivers, and final plat of subdivision for the Seasons at Crest Hill project as outlined in the February 12th, 2026 Plan Commission staff report for case PUD-26-1-2-1, and subject to the 7 conditions and requirements previously referred to. Our recommendation will be forwarded to the City Council. Keep in mind that the Plan Commission is a recommendation body only, and the City Council will hear this case on February 23rd at the workshop session, and then on March 2nd at the actual City Council meeting. I want to thank Fiduciary Real Estate Development for having the confidence in the city of Crest Hill and the surrounding area to want to build such a wonderful multifamily home community in our city. And we thank you very much for being here and your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I just ask one quick question? What HOA did they consult with? There's 2 HOAs on Remington Lakes property.
We're done.
I don't know.
We're done.
We're done. Sorry. Should have asked that. Thank you for coming, and have a good evening. Thank you, Tony. All right, is there somebody here from Quick Trip? You? Okay. Hang tight. Okay, the second case tonight is a public hearing and consideration of case V 26-2-2-1, a request of Quick Trip Corporation seeking special approvals from the City of Crest Hill subdivision zoning ordinance and city code for preliminary and final plat of subdivision and variations from section 11.6-7.2 Commercial Districts General Requirements of the Crest Hill zoning ordinance to permit a 47-foot wide full access driveway and a new 95-foot wide right-in, right-out driveway onto Plainfield Road / Route 30, and a new 81-foot wide full access driveway onto Knapp Drive, and variations from section 15.12.080 of the Crest Hill Code of Ordinances sign code to allow a multi-tenant off-premises freestanding sign, an increased sign area for a multi-tenant freestanding sign, and an increased number of commercial wall signs, and adjustments to the permitted locations for commercial wall signs for a proposed new Quick Trip convenience store / gas station and a separate vacant commercial lot located on the 4.9 acre B3 Business Service District Zone property located at 1610 Plainfield Road in the city of Crest Hill, Illinois. Atafa, is the paperwork in order?
Paperwork is in order.
Therefore, I would like to open the public hearing for case V 26-2-2-1 with a motion.
So moved.
Motion by Gordon Butler, Commissioner Butler, second by Commissioner Carroll. Roll call, please.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Marty Flynn,
Yes.
John Stanton,
Yes.
Cheryl Slabzeski,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes, public hearing opened at 8:35. Okay, again, the subject of this hearing is to discuss the request of Quick Trip Corporation seeking zoning variations for increased driveway widths on Plainfield Road and Knapp Drive, city code sign variations for an off-premises sign with increased sign area, and an increased number of wall signs and adjustments to the permitted locations. A preliminary and final plat of subdivision that subdivides the 4.9-acre site into 3 separate lots. So I would like to ask our Community and Economic Development Consultant, Ron Mensker, to present the specifics.
Okay, just to provide some, hopefully, context and help move this one forward. Different than the last case, we're talking about, in this case, a piece of property that is already zoned properly for the proposed use. The property is the former City Hall property at 1618 Plainfield Road, and part of the City Hall property is the old City Hall property, I should say. Part of the property is a vacant pad area just immediately to the east or to the west of the City Hall former Public Works facility. So the developer, in this case, Quick Trip, has entered in, the city's had the property for sale, moving into this big, beautiful new modern-day facility. That facility is no longer needed, so the city, several years back, maybe 4 years back, put it up for sale, and ultimately, in the summer of 2024, entered into a contract with Quick Trip to sell the property to Quick Trip, subject to Quick Trip redeveloping it in a form that would be consistent with the underlying zoning for the property and would involve the removal of the existing antiquated former City Hall facility on the property. So as part of the contract to purchase, Quick Trip has the ability to get out of the contract, not proceed, if they're not able to get the various approvals that they need to build the project. From the city's perspective, some of the approvals that they need require variations. And the variations that they're looking for, in this case, are variations related to driveway widths. In particular, they have there's 4 driveways on the property now. They're proposing to close one of in the biggest driveway on Knapp Drive, retain the full access drive on Knapp as in generally the same location it is, and then turn the existing eastern driveway in front of the old City Hall property on Route 30 into a right-in, right-out driveway, and turn expand the western driveway on the vacant portion of the City Hall property. As proposed, and based how driveway width is measured under the definitions in the zoning ordinance, all of the proposed driveways that they have designed do not comply with the city's maximum driveway width requirement of 40 feet. That being said, their driveways comply with good engineering standards. In fact, they comply with the design standards that the city publishes and provides to developers. So while it does the driveways do require variations for increased width, the design is, from the staff professional perspective, in accordance with what we would expect for driveways for projects of this nature, and are of the configuration and size that would be appropriate to support safe in and out movements into the property. They're also looking for variations for a variety of sign-related issues. The reality, and it's detailed in the staff report on what type of variations they need from a signage standpoint. But the reality of is the city's sign regulations really aren't written to properly provide adequate signage for this type of use. There's really no direct provisions in the sign code that allow for, that accommodate signage on gasoline pump canopies. As articulated in the staff report, the signage that's being proposed in this case is a level of signage that's consistent with the type of sign packages that the city has approved, with variations for a number of the other existing relatively new gas stations that have been developed in the community. So they're not asking for anything that's out from a staff perspective that we feel is outrageous or inconsistent with what the city has approved in the past. It seems like a reasonable amount of signage. The quality of the sign that they would install on the property are very high quality and attractive signs from a commercial perspective. And then the final request that they have is to re-subdivide the property to create 3 lots. One lot would be the lot that they would build the Quick Trip convenience store on and gas pumps. Another lot would be where the existing vacant lot is, that would be set up to accommodate a future retail multi-tenant strip type center or a quick serve restaurant. And then a third lot on the north corner of the property that would be used to manage all the stormwater that would be created by this project. So there'd be a detention pond that would be constructed on that third lot. From the staff perspective, this is a reasonable use for the property, and the requests that they're putting forth for Plan Commission consideration or recommendation seem reasonable, appropriate, and based on the findings, again, as attached or incorporated into the staff report, we feel that they're justified.
Okay, thank you. Okay, if you will come to the podium and raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
All right, thank you. If you could sign in and then state your name.
First, I just want to thank the Plan Commission for allowing us to present to you tonight, and for the community as well for being here. My name is Crest. I'm a real estate project manager with Quick Corporation. I do have a presentation here just to really go about, talk about the development and what we are proposing. It has some visuals. I know the report itself, it may seem a little intense, but I think once we visualize it, you'll see the intensity is really not there. So for the development itself, this is the development that we are proposing. It will be a Quick Trip convenience store, and then with the gas canopy in the front, and it will be a vacant lot to the left of the screen. And then in the back will be a detention pond. This is our landscape plan. As you see, it's very well landscaped. And even the detention pond area itself is landscaped. We have trees, various shrubbery, and even around our monument signs, there will be shrubbery around it. And then this is a circulation plan, just showing you how a delivery vehicle would come in, emergency vehicle as well, coming in through our sites and leaving our site. For the store design, this is our building and with our signage. So the intensity of the signs are really minor. This is what we are proposing. Again, it doesn't overload the building with signage. It's just a very typical signage package, as Ron stated. This is our interior of our store. Registers will be to the left. You have a full kitchen to the back and 8 individual bathrooms to the right side of the store. Very well organized store. Should be, we live up to the name, Quick Trip. This would be a slightly different offer than what we have in Romeoville. Romeoville is what we consider a travel center or truck stop. This development will not have any commercial vehicle fueling. So it will just be the C-store and gasoline. This is our canopy elevation showing the signage that we are proposing. Our canopy will have brick canopy columns and then the signage that will be on the canopy itself. This is our signage plan. As you can see where the signage will be, the monument sign, and then the off-premise monument sign as well. Again, those signs will be bricked, so it will be a top-tier sign, very well designed, not clustered signs all over the place. Perspective, this is the perspective of our building. This is how it's going to look like along with our signage. And that is the end of the presentation. I'm here to answer any questions or comments or concerns.
I actually was just at the Romeoville Quick Trip 2 nights ago, and I purposely went there at night because some gas stations, not necessarily close to us here, but I've gone in there and it was like going to a baseball park with the lights on, and I thought it was kind of disruptive. I was really impressed with the Romeoville site, which is very kind of ambiently done, not to where you'd have to wear your sunglasses to drive in there because the overhead lights were so bright. So, and I was glad to see that this is going to be the same type so that neighborhoods around there are not going to be affected by overly bright overhead lights. But I was really impressed with how gas stations have evolved today versus many years ago. They have become like a beautiful oasis. And then to be able to go in there and not only buy some groceries, but a sandwich or something hot was really impressive. So congratulations on what you folks have come up with as a concept. Anybody have any questions about what we're talking about here? All right, why don't you sit down a minute. Is there anybody in the audience that would like to come up and speak?
I can get up.
Please come to the podium. How many of you are going to speak? Whoever's going to speak, if you want to just stand up, and I'll swear you all in now, and then you can come up. You raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? All right. Ma'am, if you would sign in there and then state your name.
My name is Connie Jarris. I reside at 1770 Willow Circle Drive, so you know where we are, directly across the street practically to this new project. Earlier I passed out our lawyer's response to the information that we were provided. Concern we have is Napa Road. What a surprise, huh? I was going to ask Ron if he could tell us what type of weight could Knapp Road handle in terms of truck transportation?
It can handle full-size trucks.
Okay, so a tanker that's 40 tons?
Yes. Yep.
Okay, that's a surprise to me.
Yep.
Anyway, just because they're so large and have such a certain amount of weight to them, we really have some concerns about the safety and how they're gonna function. The first time we met, we talked about just a possible driveway coming onto Knapp. Now it looks like there's 2 right turns. Is that correct? When you're coming down out of the facility itself, right and right?
Yeah, it's a single,
Pull up the site plan.
Yeah.
Okay, that'll help. Oh, there you go, right there. You see how they look like they're looping out? And the little bar where it says Willow Circle Drive, I think that's supposed to be our stop sign?
That's a stop bar, yes.
Okay, so there'll still be a stop sign, but we were told possibly that it would be 81 feet in terms of an entryway. Well, that's a lot bigger than that. I think, Mr. Thompson, you described it as being almost twice that size going across. And also, what we did just find out when he did his presentation is that they're saying they're not gonna use it. According to the lines, the red lines are supposed to be deliveries. If you were a tanker truck driver, would you try to come off Plainfield Road? Or wouldn't you come down Knapp because it's a hell of a lot easier? You're gonna have to go across 3 lanes of traffic. And also, again, because that little section there, we have trees and they've been trimmed and so forth, but it's a little bit difficult to come out of that north entrance there. I'm sorry, the south entrance there. So we have some concerns about, again, the traffic like the other folks, the roads like the other folks, and some of the other alternatives that have been proposed to us maybe are off the options list because of the driveway. We're starting with the driveway. So, yeah, we're gonna have 2 stop signs. What's gonna happen on the other end? We talked about having tables to help slow down traffic. I don't know, are the tables gonna upset the tanker trucks? No. Okay. I think too that the primary thing that our attorney reminds us and you of is that the changes on Knapp Road were supposed to help take care of people cutting through in traffic. Okay, that's because we're a breakthrough kind of, everybody comes zooming down the road because they're gonna make better time, et cetera, et cetera. So now we have another back way for them to cut through. They don't have to make a left at Plainfield, Theodore to come down the road. They can come through the gas station and then shoot down Knapp. So I think you're creating still another way for traffic and people who don't normally go that way but want to get through quickly through that area on Knapp. There's one other thing, sorry. That was what it was called. It was called the city's initiative to reduce cut-through traffic. Well, with this, I think you might just blow that right out of the water because there's going to be people going through that more frequently than is currently taking place. We've been involved in the situation probably 5 years now, I think it is, when the city council first started talking about it. They brought it to you guys, then it went back to somebody else, all about Knapp Road. And there hasn't been that much improvement, and I think this is going to be detrimental to us. Somebody even suggested that we throw up a sound wall, like they do on 55, right along there, to help take care of the pollution and the sound and stuff that the folks whose homes face Knapp Road, that maybe that would be something that would be helpful. So I would just hope that you would consider that even 2, 1, I don't know, necessary for that entrance on the NAP? Or no access to it at all? I mean, other gas stations only have 1 in and 1 out. Why does this one have 3? So it's just the questions that we hope you'll consider, and it's just really difficult when you're, the first group, okay? We're not like that. We have an HOA, we try to follow the rules. We try to fit with our own neighbors on our own campus because they're separate buildings. So even talking with them about things that go on and might need some adjustment, we don't always get a whole lot of cooperation. Of course, they change ownership ever so often, so that kind of takes care of most of that. But again, I'd hope you'd seriously think, we're not saying get rid of it. It'd be okay to have that big old building gone and something constructive there, but you just, please try to consider how the traffic has really been an issue for us. And, well, sounds like other people as well. So I thank you.
Thank you. I think the south Willow Falls entrance, I believe that's going to be a 4-way stop sign.
Yeah, I was gonna address that after all the comments.
So you're going to be able to get out of there a lot easier than the north entrance.
Well, that's new because when we.
Yeah,
first
so, I mean,
went to our
since
last
you
Yeah, go
brought it
ahead.
up, I can bring that up.
Okay.
At the January 26th workshop, a NAP study, or a NAP traffic calming study was presented to council. In there had a bunch of different solutions of what to do. Council has approved that Willow Falls South will become a 4-way stop. We will also be building a barrier median on Theodore to restrict eastbound traffic to make a left on Knapp. That'll be an illegal move. PD will obviously have to monitor that up front because there's gonna be people who try to use that, but they're gonna monitor it up front. There'll also be a restriction in time, 3:30 to 7 p.m. every night. You'll not be able to make a left turn out of Knapp to go eastbound on Theodore. So those are the improvements that have been approved as of the actually, it was approved at our February, it was Monday's meeting. Last Monday's meeting, they passed a resolution for Knapp. 2 other things that the council had required is staff needs to evaluate this 1 year after installation to see if it is having any effect on, obviously, your cut-through traffic. And this report did show that 70% of everybody cutting through is cutting through. But it is a public road. So your question about trucks and buses and things like that, we can't restrict that. I mean, it's a public road. Yeah, but we also have other businesses, so the decision of what we're gonna do at Knapp or do within that corridor doesn't just affect you, it would affect all the other businesses that are around there. You get deliveries, you get people that are coming out of the strip mall where the Southern Cafe is, things like that, so all of those things were weighed into the decisions that were presented. Now, to go back to, as I said, a year after we do the installation, we're to evaluate and see if there's been any impact. If there has not been an impact, then we're gonna make that next step. I can't tell you what the next step is because it depends on what results that we're getting. If we get the results, we're fine. If we're not getting it, we might have to do, as you mentioned, maybe a speed table at the north intersection. You know, the issue with the north intersection is it doesn't meet warrants for traffic signals. There's no traffic on the side streets to warrant a stop sign, so by law, we can't install a stop sign. You just can't pop them up because you want to. There are rules and regulations for stop signs. Actually, studies have shown if we put a stop sign there, the speeding will increase between there and Knapp because people just speed up, once they stop. So we would have to do something more than a stop sign. We are also directed by council that 1 year after QT goes in, we would evaluate it again. So there's 2 steps here afterwards. Again, we're gonna install it sometime this summer. I'm looking at, trying to do it midsummer. We'll evaluate it in a year from now, and then obviously, once QT is all in place, we will evaluate it again 1 year after that, to make sure that the traffic, as shown in the traffic report, and how we think it's gonna act, it acts the way it does. So those are the two things from the city perspective we have done, and just in the last couple of weeks. You know, we did commission this study last summer. We had another consultant review all the traffic analysis that was done by QT and myself to verify that all their findings is what we were told. I can't necessarily address you only have to address the fueling comment, but I specifically brought that question up, and I was told that they're gonna come from whatever way that they're coming from. So, what I was told was they're coming off of Theodore, and they're gonna make their ruling, and that's why they're showing what they got going on there. So, that's what I was told. He could answer where they're coming from, so I can't answer that, but again, so you could potentially have a fueling truck if they're coming down Weber. You know, they're gonna make that turn. But we did improve that intersection there because we were having a lot of T-bone accidents, and rear end accidents, you know, because you come around that curve, and I know everyone does 50 miles an hour around that curve, you know. One of the other thing I'll add is, you know, as I mentioned, you know, PD will be out there doing a lot of monitoring once we first put these stop signs in and put the barrier in, because we want to make sure that nobody's cutting through El Guero. So that's something we're conscious of, you know, that potentially it's going to happen. We're going to put some signs up, but again, people are going to test it, and if the PD is there, then they're, you know, they'll at least know the PD might be there and they might not do it. So we're hoping that that drives a percentage of traffic back onto Weber, Larkin, and Plainfield. That's what we're trying to achieve here. And again, I said our whole thing was we wanted to achieve this so that there is a decrease in cut-through traffic. It will slightly decrease the speed because we have shown that people are speeding about 37 miles an hour, is what we're showing. About 85% of the public is doing 85 or less, or I'm sorry, 85% of the traffic going through there is going 37 or less. So there is a percentage, you know, 15% that's a little higher than that, but that's, you know, it is showing that we're having you know, a speeding issue also through there. You know, we also need to talk about emergency services, make sure they can get through there. That's why we are not proposing speed bumps in any way. If we do something in the future, it'll be more what we call speed hump or raising an intersection. If you've all been to Plainfield, downtown Plainfield, they have them there. It'll be similar to that, but we would probably do it at Willow Falls North. So it allows emergency vehicles, they have to slow down to go over it, but they don't have to stop like a speed bump. They're safer. So that's kind of where the city's perspective is on right now in trying to handle that cut-through traffic and the speeding and this additional traffic that, you know, is going to be from the QT development.
Yes, please. Sign your name. Thanks, Ron.
Oops, sorry. Okay, I just needed simple mind clarification. Oh, I'm sorry, Lupe Rellis, and I live at 1892 Willow Circle Drive in Willow Falls Townhomes. So there's going to be 3 entrances into the gas station. That big wide one, that drive is the one that exists now, like we used to go into City Hall?
Yes.
So there's going to be that big one. And then where are they coming in, where are they entering on Route 30?
They'll be entering either, so the state is requiring them to build a right-hand turn lane that's going to extend across the entire property. So if you're on 30, you'll be entering either at that right in, right out, which is, I don't know if you want to, let me go.
Yeah.
It's right over here, so there's a right in, right out right here.
Okay, got it.
Or
Okay.
they'll go down, you know, they could go down, but more than likely people that are actually heading The
Because
other
people coming
direction
in-
would use the
yeah,
other
they're gonna
entrance.
have to make either a left-hand turn, or coming up from theater, they're gonna have to make a right-hand turn.
Correct.
Getting into the, yeah. And the stop signs too, I know you're all talking about, you all know where those stop signs are. That's a four-way stop, is that going to be Knapp, Theater, okay. Because I'm not seeing it, but, so there, people traveling on Theater are gonna have to stop
No, the stop sign's gonna be on Knapp at Willow Circle.
at that great big,
At the old entrance to City Hall.
Okay,
So
that's where I
Willow South.
thought it was going to
That's gonna
be.
be the four-way.
Okay.
To kind of address the question about the driveway, I know it looks wider than it is, but there will be a left and a right out of there and a single through coming in. But those the why it's wider is because it's the radiuses in order to get the vehicles around. So it's kind of a cockeyed little driveway, so
Yes.
the radiuses get a little bit
'cause you
flared
have
out a
two
little
of them.
bit
You have
more.
one great big huge one that used to go into the City Hall building.
Yes.
Then you have the other one that was for.
The farther
cars.
one down that you're talking that went to the back of the building, that'll be closed.
Yeah, okay. So then the four-way stop the stop sign is gonna be the exit from Willow Falls?
Yes.
Okay, so that'll be, okay, and
So
then,
that would help for you to get out. That was one of the concerns that we had saw was, you know, you can't get out because there's more traffic. Well, everybody's gonna have to stop
Yeah,
there.
okay.
So
All right.
you will be able to get out because everybody will have to stop.
yeah, and then I don't know, because I take Nap and getting on Theodore, whether I'm going to, most of the time I'm going right, to get on Route 30 or
Yep.
to go straight on Theodore. There's a backup on there.
Yes.
So I don't know, people are going to stop, and then they're gonna have another stop at Theodore? Okay, yeah, because at one time I actually counted, there was like 2 cars ahead of me, and there was 8 of us all waiting to get
So-
on. So that's, I
Yeah,
think
to
that'd
answer
be a
your,
problem.
question, yes, in the evenings, it backs up. And the reason it's backing up is because the traffic on Theodore backs up past
Yeah.
Knapp, so people can't clearly make a left out of there.
This was like 8:45, I was
Yep.
going over to Bassa, and
Oh,
then
okay.
yeah, most
So,
of the time.
so as we were talking about, they're gonna have to stop there,
Yeah,
then they're gonna have to
another
stop there.
They're gonna not
That
like
might
that.
be thinking about going a different direction
Uh-huh.
because they gotta keep stopping. And if they can't make a left out of there during certain hours of the day,
Yes,
they can try. If the PD's there, they're gonna get themselves a ticket, but we're trying to discourage that, and like I mentioned, our studies show that 70% of the traffic was cut through.
yes.
So,
yeah, I
you know, if we
realize.
can get 30 or 35%, you know, to go another way, we've cut down that traffic. Now, at what point do we say enough is enough? I don't know yet,
Yeah.
because we have to see how those things work, you know. But, you know, at this point, that's our initial shot at it.
Okay.
To see what it does. But again, like I said, we were conscious of people that live there, the businesses. We know that we have the speed issue, and we know we have the cut-through. So we're trying to juggle all of these, you know, to come up with a solution that benefits everybody.
Yeah, I also like the question that you had asked about the lighting, because I know some of the residents, I live right there, right on Dam. And my neighbor was saying that just the light from the Chase and the ATM, she said, boy, that is so very bright. She's been there for quite a few years, and she's made comments that late at night too, if people are using it, of course they can, they're allowed to. But that light is bright, and I was wondering the same thing about the gas station, because
Yeah,
many
that,
times.
that would have been
And
unacceptable.
big ugly signage
Right.
and that kind of a
Right.
thing, yeah. And I just have one more question, this is just my own curiosity. When the property went up for sale, did you have other offers besides the gas station? And when the city decided to take the offer and they have a contract for the gas station, do they really even consider the fact that that whole block is we're all old people? It's 55 and over, but I would say that the average age is probably 75, 77, something like that. Many people in walkers, many people, actually, they joke and say, you know, that's death row. People go there just to end their, you know, finish up their days, you know. But do they actually take that into any consideration because of the environment area? Because I know we had an issue years ago with Forza Restaurant. We didn't like that idea, and that turned out to be a really nightmare. The plaza right now is relatively quiet, you know. and now it's lighted. It used to be very, very dark, but I wondered, do you think, oh, wait a minute, we have a senior community, a memory unit and stuff. The environment around there, we understand progress, we understand business, but did they even consider that? I mean, were there other offers that might be a little bit more appropriate for the environment, the area we are, or are we just stuck because it's all business? And we understand that to a point, but we feel like we're forgotten, we're lost there. They don't really care, and I get it, business, money, city wants money, but it would be nice to know that we've been considered.
Ron, you want to make a comment?
Sure, I have some history. I haven't been around the whole time that this property has been up for sale by the city, but I was involved when Quick Trip came to the table, and as part of that, I was able to educate myself about, the previous people that have, individuals, businesses that have, had the property or tried to put the property under contract or expressed interest in the property. And I can say there were 2 other gas station uses that were very interested in wanted to put the property under contract, and the city, there wasn't enough support on the city council to pass a vote that would go under contract with those other 2 gas stations. And part of that is because there was concern, there is concern, there is concern about how this project would impact your neighborhood. There's a couple of elected officials that part of their job is to represent your ward. And in my experience, at the meetings I have been at where the city council has talked about the future of this property, they do a good job in advocating for your neighborhood, just being aware of the concerns that you guys have represented. So I think to answer your main question is that I don't think you're forgotten about based on my experience with the city council. That being said, the city council, in general, this is local government. Good city councils have to make decisions that are in the best interest of the overall community. And sometimes, that does include your neighborhood and the surrounding people. And I think that in this case, the council, the majority of them, because this has not been a unanimous thing to put this under contract and get to this point. But they are doing what they can to address the traffic concerns that they have consistently heard from your neighborhood. Ron just articulated the steps that the city's taking or prepared to take, not only to put the improvements in the foreseeable future this summer, but also to come back and reevaluate it to see if those work, and if they don't, to take further steps. And we've also worked really closely with Quick Trip. I think that was one of the benefits. As part of the contract that the city entered in with Quick Trip, there's a bunch of restrictions on the type of additional land uses that could potentially locate on that vacant area that's like a future development site on what they would own. So they can't just put other really undesirable uses. Those are restricted if they buy the property. And as part of their project, they had to submit a lot of detailed information. Not quite the same level as the last project. There's like 300 pages of information from the last project. But one of the key pieces of information they had to submit is a photometric plan, which is a detailed engineering analysis of the proposed lighting that they're going to install and maintain on the site, and where that light goes. There's software programs that can evaluate that. And they had to show that there's really no light spillover into your neighborhood, the foot candles. And the type of fixtures that they use are the same ones that they've used in Romeoville, so you can go see it. They aren't type of fixtures that create a lot of glare. And glare is created by when you have fixtures that are more like a floodlight that just kind of spray, light outwards. All their fixtures are horizontally mounted fixtures, so they direct the light down rather than out. And that really minimizes the amount of glare from surrounding property owners, and it really reduces the potential for light spillage on the property. So I think it is a commercial property and it is a commercial use, but I think overall they've done pretty much everything they can do that the city has asked them to do to try to minimize the impacts on your neighborhood. And then in addition, the city is taking steps to further minimize the impacts any traffic will have on your, I mean, it's not taking them away, but it's just minimizing
Right.
those impacts.
Okay, well, I guess it'll just be like wait and see, right? Because I know this is going to happen. But you know what, if they're very unhappy with the results, which I'm hoping it's gonna be good, you know. There's 104 votes there, and then some. So that's something to consider when they're not happy with the city. So I don't do that. I'm not saying that as blackmail, right? No. All right, thank you very much.
And I can actually just echo what Ron said. There was a very hard push with the real estate brokers that were marketing this to try to find a commercial use that was like a nice restaurant and every time the council would ask the brokers, the answer was there's just not any interest or a market for that. It's not that the council did not try and hold out for all the years that this was on the market for a different type of use because in their view, we don't need another gas station. No offense to Quick Trip. But everything we heard from the people that supposedly have the contacts and that are the experts, that right now the market is just not there for that.
We were hoping for a donut and ice cream shop or something like that, where we could walk across the street and have some donuts and
you might
ice
get,
cream.
apparently Quick Trip has contacts with like a Sonny's Custard, and so that might be
Well,
what
hey.
can come into the outbuilding, so
add
you might
donuts
still
to it.
get some ice cream.
Yep, and you can get donuts in there too.
I would
Okay.
echo what Mike said. As Ron mentioned, they had, the first one that went up for sale, Casey's wanted to go in there. And council went away from that because they wanted something better than a gas station. So it was up for sale with, for 2.5 years, and there was no bites to do anything.
There were bites, but they weren't desirable.
Not what we want, not what
Truck
we wanted there.
repair.
There, I'm talking something that was nice in there, restaurants or, whatever, and, or apartment, whatever, and it just doesn't show up. So, as Mike said, then, QT came, and I think their presentation to have that second lot to be developed was something that Casey's didn't have, so that's why some of the council, or the majority of council, then voted for this, to move on.
Okay, anybody in the audience want to say anything? If not, can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson,
I'll second it.
second by Commissioner Flynn. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Marty Flynn,
Yes.
Cheryl Slebzewski,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
John Stanton,
Yes.
and Bill Thomas.
Yes. Public hearing closed at 9:18. Anybody else got anything they want to say? Are
I'll
we
make a
good?
comment, just to maybe ease the pain a little bit. I know resident, girls, I have a comment for you. I know residents that lived in that neighborhood to the east of Willow Falls, and when they were talking about putting Willow Falls in, the neighborhood had the same issues that you're having, and obviously you've all become neighbors, so maybe it will work out.
We're gonna hope for the best, yes.
If that eases some of the pain.
Okay, before we make our motion, I kind of want to go over the same thing. I think you've had conversations with the city staff that any recommendation would be contingent on the 5 conditions that they have gone over with you. And I just, for the record, want your agreement that you are in agreement with the 5 conditions that they've discussed with you in order to make a recommendation.
Yes.
Yes? Okay, thank you. I kind of also want to recommend, just follow up on Ron and Ron to alleviate the comment that you made, which is the city of Crest Hill really likes having Willow Falls here. And I think you've got a little sense of that by all of the things that the city of Crest Hill has done to follow up on the attorney's concerns, the residents' concern. They're doing everything they can that's practical to help that situation. And I think you should take away something that we don't do very often is that we've pledged, as Ron said, that in a year, we're going to look at that situation again. And, you know, if your residents' HOA has some really strong concerns about what's taken place, we're going to listen to what those are. And we really want to accommodate Willow Falls as much as we can. So we appreciate you being there, appreciate you coming tonight. So with that said, based on the findings outlined in the February 12th, wait a minute, don't jump ahead. Can I have a motion to approve the request of Quick Trip Corporation as stated in the February 12th, 2026 City of Crest Hill Staff Report?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Peterson, second by Commissioner Carroll. Roll call, please.
Jeff Peterson,
Yeah.
Ken Carroll,
Yes?
John Stanton,
Yes.
Marty Flynn,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Cheryl Slebzewski,
Yes.
Bill Thomas.
Yes. Okay, now, based on the findings outlined in the February 12th, 2026 staff report for case V-26-2-2-1, the Plan Commission unanimously recommends that the City Council approve the final plat subdivision and the zoning ordinance and sign code variations for Quick Trip's redevelopment of the former Crest Hill City Hall property at 1618 Plainfield Road as outlined in and subject to the 5 conditions previously discussed. Our recommendation will be forwarded to the City Council. Keep in mind, the Plan Commission is a recommending body only, and the City Council will plan to hear your case at the February 23rd workshop and the March 2nd City Council meeting. I personally, on behalf of the Plan Commission, want to thank Quick Trip for staying with this project and its challenges related to the unique shaped property and requirements you were asked to do, and the confidence that Quick Trip has in the city of Crest Hill and surrounding areas to build such a beautiful and useful gas station and convenience store in our city. We thank you for doing that, and best of luck to you going forward. Okay, is there any other business we need to bring up tonight? Is there anyone else in the audience that wants to make a comment about anything other than this case? Don't you dare come up. Yeah, we want to go home too. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make it.
Motion by Commissioner Carroll, second by Commissioner Peterson. Roll call, please.
Ken Carroll,
Yes.
Jeff Peterson,
Yes.
Marty Flynn,
Yes.
Cheryl Slebzewski,
Yes.
John Stanton,
Yes.
Gordon Butler,
Yes.
Bill Thomas.
Yes. Meeting is adjourned at 9:23. Thank you again for coming and for your comments.